Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and for today's video, we are going to hop back into the Gundam card game side of things, and this time, we're going to answer one burning question. When you guys go to your starter deck battles in less than a week, across the week, which deck should you choose? And by the end of this video, we are going to know not only the key highlights of each deck, but their general strategy, their effectiveness, and in my opinion, the order of priority you should be choosing these decks in. So, I hope you guys enjoy this content, and let's get into it. So for this video, we are going to go from top to bottom in terms of decks and basically scale them from what I think is least viable in this starter deck event to most viable. And before you guys click off when you see the first deck I talk about, I want you guys just to listen to the explanation, because I promise you this is going to be the best breakdown for this event and this format that you will see on YouTube. I'm just shooting for the moon. I'm that confident on it. So let's hop into it. And yeah, unfortunately, the first deck I'm going to talk about is going to be starter deck 2, which is the Wings Advanced Gundam Wing deck, and I think this is going to be the least viable for this event for a couple of reasons. So let's dive into it. To understand it first, we got to talk about the LRs first. And the funny part is, when it comes to Wing Gundam, he's arguably the best LR out of all 8 coming from these starter decks. Level 6 4 cost, you guys should know him from the beta, but he has a 4/5 body. He has breach 5, meaning that when he blows up something by battle, he is going to destroy whatever is in the shield area behind it. He's got this unit may choose an active enemy unit that is level 4 or lower as its attack target, meaning he is also board control. You attack something with 1 AP and 3 HP, you're destroying it, and you're destroying the base or the shield after it. That's insane. Pairing up with Hito Yui, because of the inherent stat boost, he is actually going to be a 7/7, which makes him an incredibly beefy boss monster that is normally gonna have to take at least 2 bodies along with it just to get faded. So this is a very strong card. However, the thing is, since you're only playing with one starter deck, you only have access to 2 of them, and because we don't get units from our life when they're damaged out, you could just have one at the bottom of your deck and one in life and just miss it with your shields or with your bases, and you're never going to see this card. So when it comes to the decks, yeah, the LRs are going to be very important, but a lot of the weight is going to come in your 3 and 4 ofs, because those are the ones that you're going to see most often. So this may be a devastating card, but I'm not going to say, oh yeah, everything relies on it. We don't have the same amount of draw as we do in like per se fusion mode, where you have a leader swinging. So yeah, boss card. Now going to a card that's not necessarily as boss, you have the Tall Geese. And the Tall Geese is a level 5 4 cost 4/4 stat line with the activate main once per turn 4, set this unit to active. Now what you're essentially trying to do with this guy is if you have Zex Marquise on him, you're going to be able to punch over like a body and then draw a card, and then you can untap him and either punch over another body or maybe punch towards life. You can punch at life twice. This is a card that can get in a lot of good stuff. However, with the 4/4 stat line, if you play him out before he's paired, to hopefully be able to get him with a double swing next turn, blue, especially if you're facing starter deck 1, has the ability to tap this guy with multiple cards, like tap him down. The 4 stat line is not too respectable, to the point where like you can literally be minused on attack power and just get chumped out of the game. There is the issue that being a level 5, he's also going to be able to be in reach of things like Aegis Gundam, which we'll talk about later. So there's a lot of things that touch this guy. He doesn't have exactly like monstrous stats, and his effect, the thing is, because he's only getting up to I think 5 or 6 HP, if you use him with Zex, you can't even use him as a sufficient draw engine, because at some point, like after 2 attacks, he's either going to be ready to get chumped by a singular 1/1 token or a 1/1 body, or he might actually already be destroyed. So this is going to be a problem for this card in general. I just don't think he's suited in this particular format, but yeah. Now, moving on to the next card, this is actually, I think, the second best unit in the deck. I think like the pecking order goes like Gundam Wing, then this Gundam Heavy Arms, then Tall Geese. And this Heavy Arms is a level 5 3 cost 3/4 stat line, very respectable. And then during your turn, when this unit destroys an enemy unit with battle damage, deal 1 damage to all enemy units that are level 3 or lower. In this starter deck format, you have so many tokens with 1 HP. You have so many cards with 1 HP, so many little blockers with 1 HP, so many attackers that have 2/1 as a stat line. And there are going to be so many positions where if this guy gets to attack anything, you are going to wipe the field of 2 to 3, maybe even 4 bodies. Wink wink nudge nudge, there's going to be a lot of gameplay going up on this channel with double starter deck builds, like just 2 starter decks put together for better ratios, where Wing Gundam as a deck should have been dead to rights, but this card has literally turned it into an even match or brought it back. So yeah, I think this card is actively just the second best unit in the deck, and he's got that potential to change the state of the game. He's very good at stabilizing. The next card of interest here is going to be the Wing Gundam Bird Mode. He's a level 3 cost 2/2 stat line. You guys remember this from the beta box, and basically when you play him you just get an EX resource, which is good. The other cool thing is, since he has Hito Yui as a link, he's going to actually be able to get up to 5 AP, which is just enough to one-shot a base. So there's going to be a lot of times where your opponent plays out maybe an early white base to try to get some momentum, and this card is going to be able to come down, get you the EX base, and then put Hito Yui on it, and then just swing into the base and immediately make sure that they can't get any more value from it. So this is an exemplary card. However, a downside that I will talk about later is it is actually the only card in this starter deck that ramps. So you have a 4 of that ramps in a 50 card deck, and there's no guarantee that you're going to see it or multiple copies of it, leading your ramp to not really exist in the deck for the most part. Now, this next card, Maganak, is a level 2 cost with 3/2 as the stat line. A lot of you guys may be thinking, why is the vanilla on this notable list? Well, I'm going to put any body that can just early game one-shot the EX base on here. And that's because once you one-shot the EX base, every single attack, no matter whether it has 1 AP or 7, is going to be able to potentially take a shield. And with that being said, what's really important is that you don't have to send multiple attacks into an EX base, that you can just send one attack into an EX base and then send your other bodies in after it. So yes, Maganak is going to be a cool thing. Just to let you guys know, I'm so sorry because I forgot to one part about this. The heavy arms is so much more reliable because there's 4 copies. Your LRs only have 2 copies. Heavy arms had 4 copies. Wing Gundam Bird Mode had 4 copies, and this Maganak that we're on right now has 3 copies. So already the ratio should be more reliable than your LRs. Now the next one we have here is going to be Leo, and Leo is a 2/2 and he doesn't look anything special, but he has the Oz trait as his linking target, which means that you can pair a Zex with the Leo and maybe get rid of your opponent's 1/1 token, their 1/1 bodies, and just make sure that you can get some draws off of it. You can turn, like, you know, swinging into something that you're gonna normally chump, but maybe Zex as a pilot lets you survive and you get a draw out of it. So very, very, very cool on that part. Now going over to the bases, we got St. Gabriel Institute. And for a deck that doesn't really have, like, a game that actually doesn't have too much draw on it, it's very nice to have this card come down as early as turn 2. The ability to look at your top 2 cards of your deck and add 1 to the top and return 1 to the bottom. Yeah, sometimes you get 2 bad choices and you have to choose the better of 2 bad choices, but for the most part this is actually going to very much so help you speed through your deck in terms of seeing what you need and trying to be more consistent. So this is actually an A+ base card as far as I'm concerned, because consistency is king in TCGs. Now the other base that comes with the deck, and you do get 2 of each of these bases, is going to be the Corsica base, and this is just going to be a level 3 cost that says deploy burst. Yeah, deploy this card, deploy, add 1 of your shields to your hand, then if it is your turn, deploy 1 Tall Geese Oz token with AP 4, HP 2, and then if it's your turn in the card Corsica base is already in your trash, you deploy 2 Leos with HP 1, AP 1 instead. So this card is weird because if it's your first time deploying it and it's on your turn, you get to play out a pretty beefy token on the AP side, very easily dealt with though on the HP side. And then if you already have this base in the trash, you're going to be able to put out 2 Leos, which are 1/1s, so they're very easy to be dealt with, but they can potentially get in some quick easy damage if your opponent doesn't deal with them. So that's pretty cool. Overall though, the fact that you have to use this on your turn is kind of an L. There are some other cards that do that in this game already, just in the starter format, but like, it's just really not that great. And then the fact that if this gets burst from your life, you're not getting that, which, like I said, is the same from like Falmel in starter 3, but it does just kind of feel meh. Like, yeah, you don't have anything else to play, but this is definitely not like in the top like 4 of these bases that I think that are in the starter format. So Now going over to your pilots, because this is another huge part of the deck, what you have here is Hito Yui, and basically he's a level 4 1 cost burst. Add this card to your hand. He is interesting because he doesn't have any unique effects. He has raw stat gain. During Link, this unit will gain AP +1 and HP +1, meaning that he's going to actually give 3-2 as his stats instead of 2-1, meaning that he's going to make things like Wing Gundam Bird Mode a 5-4. He's going to make Wing 0 into a 7-7, and that allows you to have some really crazy stats. He doesn't even have to, and then as they get through more of the set, there's going to be just like more cards that you can pair with or link with. I believe there's a vanilla in the starter deck, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, he's going to make some big buff beefy boys, but he doesn't really offer much utility. He just offers raw stats, which is a shield in its own unless you get into certain other matchups. So he's decent. I'm not gonna say he's bad, but he's not necessarily the greatest. Now, Zex Marquise, this is a card I actively have a problem with. He is a level 5 1 cost burst. Add this card to your hand. During Link, during your turn, when this unit destroys an enemy unit by battle damage, draw 1 card. With an effect like that, I wish he was adding 1-2, because you have to destroy a unit by battle and you don't have first strike, meaning you will be taking damage to get this draw. Now, the other part about that is he's only going up to be a 6-5, and just being a 5 cost, or just being 5 AP would have been more than enough for him to start clearing stuff all the time and getting your draw. But being a 5 HP means that you can really only do this like twice, unless your opponent sets up the perfect board with like guys with like tokens that only have 1 AP. But he's really only going to be able to do this 2 times before he's in danger of just dying. And so maybe that's a balancing mechanic, but you have to put in so much. You have to pay his cost again, Tallgeese cost again, just to get the second swing. So I think this guy is kind of like and it's gonna be rough. Like, you can get a draw off of him once and you're probably in range for close combat from starter deck 03. So it's kind of how I feel about this card. And now we are actually getting to the last card in the Wings of Advanced deck, and that's going to be Siege Ploy. This card is actually, funny enough, just like LR Wing Gundam, this is one of the best like command cards in the entire format, for the starter format. Like, straight up, you're just gonna rest something with 5 or less HP, and you can do this main or action. This could be them attacking with something and you choosing to rest something on attack. That could be excellent. This could be at the end phase, you resting a blocker so that they cannot block with it on your game push. This card is amazing, and it has the burst that activate the main effect, meaning that if it comes out of life, it could potentially just take another attack with it. So yeah, this card is just bar none very good. However, you only have 2 of them. Now, when it comes to pilots, because sorry, I keep forgetting them, the pilots, you do have 4 of each per deck. But yeah, with that Siege Ploy, you only get 2. And so while it is a generationally great card, it's not necessarily the most reliable. Okay, so now we're going to move over to the Seed Strike deck. And I do have this on the 3rd most viable starter deck for this format. A lot of people are used to the beta format where you were playing white-blue and it's very mid-range, almost control-y. But in this set, this is white-red, and you don't have access to cards like Show of Resolve in blue, nor Overflowing Affection in white, which means that you're going to actually find that if you open up your Siege Strike deck and just look at the curve, look at the cards, this is a beatdown deck. This is literally an attempted beatdown deck, and while it's not as good as the Xeon deck, I think it's still actually a viable Reshon deck. If you like Seed and nobody can tell you any different, this deck could get you enough wins to win, but I still think it's definitely 3rd by a fair margin. Now, going into the first card, the Ailstrike Gundam, again, another beta card, a level 5, 4 cost, 4/4 body, blocker, and then when paired, level 4 or higher pilot, choose 1 enemy unit with 4 or less HP, return to the owner's hand. So you're really going to have some disruption, and he's a blocker. When a card like this exists, bouncing something that cannot link and then sitting this guy on the board as a blocker is essentially taking out 2 attacks from the equation next turn, which is insane. And then on top of that, you have cards like Archangel allowing him to potentially attack and then untap himself and then still be up for the defense. So this is going to be a very strong card, and I remember most people already know it's strong from the beta. Now, fairly newcomer to the series. This is Aegis Gundam, and this is a level 4/3 cost attack. If this unit has 5 or more AP, choose one enemy unit that is level 5 or higher, deal 3 damage to it. Now, this is the part where a lot of people have underestimated this card. I have underestimated this card. At first it reads really, really weird, but what Aegis Gundam allows you to do with any deck is you're the boss card killer. Like, just think about it this way. I can tell you right now, Atherin adds 1 attack and 2 power. Sorry, 2 HP. So when you have Atherin under this guy for literally just 4, this guy can attack and ping Tall Geese for 3, and then just let one of your tokens or small bodies chump the rest of them, depending on if he's paired or not, or linked or not. This guy, even in the mirror, he can actually come over and just ping Ailstrike Gundam for 3. And then you have to wonder whether or not you want to like trade, things like that. The pinging for 3 is very important. If you attack with a chumper and you hit him for 2, and then you swing with Aegis Gundam and just ping this guy for 3, he's cooked. It's done. So Aegis Gundam is actually pretty crazy. Another fun tidbit is that Aegis Gundam is the only way in the starter format that you can 1-for-1 Wing Gundam. If they put Wing Gundam and Hito Yui after it, and then you respond by playing Aegis Gundam with Atherin, you will attack, ping it for 3, hit it for 5. And you lost a pilot and a unit, they lost a pilot and a unit, and you guys are both back to basics. So this is a very, very strong card in this format, in my opinion. The next card of interest we have here is the Aegis Gundam Mobile Armor form. It is just a level 4/3 cost, breach 3/4 stat line, so it's going to go up into a it's actually going to go up into a 4/6, which is going to be a huge backside for this guy. He's going to be very, very annoying to get rid of, and he has breach 3, so you can start actually feeding on the smaller enemies there and then getting into their life. And because of Atherin's effect, which we're going to talk about soon, this is even more devastating, that you can hit something they were trying to tuck away and then still do the breach damage. Next card of interest is Strike Gundam, level 4, 2 cost, 3/3 stat line, very respectable. Deploy, draw 1, discard 1. Thinning is winning, consistency is king. So a card that's going to help your consistency is great. And then that same card being able to link with Kira Yamato, even better. So let's keep it pushing. Next, you got Strike Dagger. This is just like Maganek, same exact stat line, same exact cost, but it is a card that will allow you to destroy your opponent's EX base with 1 swing that comes out early. So he's earned his space here as a notable card. Now, moving on to bases, we got Archangel, and Archangel is actually pretty cool. However, it is not the card that was in the beta format. In the beta format, we had 2 other Strike Gundam blockers. In this one, we do not. We just have the we don't even have Demi Trainer in this deck. I think we have like 2 blockers in this deck, 2, maybe 3 at max, and one of them is your LR. So you're not going to get the mileage out of this card that you do want, but it's going to burst deploy this card, deploy one of your shields to your hand, and then activate main once per turn 2. Choose 1 friendly unit with blocker and set it active. It can't attack during this turn. So this is pretty cool. You're going to essentially be able to swing and then untap your blocker, but without the SR being on the field, this card immediately feels weaker. Now moving on to the next one, you have Vesalius, and this is just a level 3 1 cost base. Burst deploy this card, deploy, add one of your shields to your hand, and then activate main, rest this base, choose 1 friendly unit, it gains +1 AP during this turn. The best part about this card is it's going to turn a lot of 2 AP cards into 3 AP cards, allowing you to get past the EX base if it hasn't been cleared already, make better trades, and realistically, because it just pushes the threshold of damage, it's better than Archangel a lot of the times in this starter deck format. Now moving on to pilots, we've got Kira Yamato. No need to talk about this. This guy's busted in the show and in the game. Level 4, 1 cost, burst, add this card to your hand. Kira Yamato, attack, choose 1 enemy unit. It gains -2 AP during this battle. This means that if they have any chump blockers out, you can literally just eat them up without taking damage. If they have a boss versus your boss, you can potentially get the dub, even though yours doesn't die because of the extra 1 life that Kira gave and the -2 AP that it did during the battle. So powerful, powerful card. And now we move on to Atherin, level 4 as well, cost 1 as well. Burst, add this to your, or add this card to your hand, and then he gives +1/+2, so the opposite stats of Kira, and that's thematic. But when linked during this turn, this unit may choose an active enemy unit that is level 5 or lower as its attack target. So when you have this paired to Gundam Aegis Mobile Armor form, you're going to be able to attack things right off the rip destroy them and get that breach off. So it's really rough when they have like a 1 cost or some, or a 1 cost that only has 1 HP, 1 AP or something like that, or, you know, 2 HP, 1 AP, and you're able just to completely munch on it without losing anything in return. And then the last card we have here in this set is actually the Hawk of Endymion, and this is going to be a level 2 1 cost. He also doubles his Mulaflaga, giving 1 AP, no HP, and the main interaction, choose one enemy unit with 3 or less, return it to its owner's hand. When you return a linked pilot or a paired pilot, the pilot goes wherever the unit goes. But when you return something that is incapable of linking, the best they can do is play it out next turn and hope it survives until the following turn. So Hawk of Endymion is actually very, very good at clearing so many bodies that come out early in the game. In fact, if you wanted to really get into it, there could be a 4 cost or something with 4 HP that you really want off the field, and you can just swing a token or a 1-drop into it, dropping it down to that amount and then just bouncing it back with Hawk of Endymion on your in phase, on their first attack if they don't pair with it first, things like that. And I think that that's actually just very, 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 very good, because when you bounce something that doesn't have a link category, yeah, they can't swing with it next turn regardless, so you're just taking bodies off the board for real. And now we are on to my favorite deck out of the 4. This is the Zeon Strike. Sorry, Zeon Strike. Last one was Sea Strike. This is Zeon's Rush. And Zeon's Rush is actually going to have a very, very unique mixture of cards. There is a pretty much like 1 cost suite in it. And then this boss card is probably the second best boss card in the entire starter deck format, and it is the Sinanju, level 6, 5 cost. During pair, this unit gains high maneuver. That's during pair, not during link. And then during your turn, when this unit destroys an enemy shield area with battle card, or an enemy shield area card with battle damage, choose 1 enemy unit, deal 2 damage to it. That can be a shield. That can actually also just be a base, because they're all in the shield area. And so you can blow up a shield and ping something for 2. This is removing weenies. This is removing a bunch of mid-range type bodies that have 2 HP, but maybe 3 AP or 4 AP. This is doing a lot, and it's high maneuver, so it gets past the blockers of white. And so I think most colors get blockers in this game, but like in the starter decks, like right now. But this card can circumvene them, and he's not the only one, so keep an eye on that. Guy is a monster. Next, we actually have the Char Zaku 2, and this guy says, when destroyed, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal 1 Zeon/Neo Zeon unit card amongst them, add it to your hand, return the remaining cards randomly to the bottom of your deck, and he's a 3/2. So far, outside of boxing, it's not like we have bottom decking yet, so if you're going to destroy this, you have to give them the draw, and if the deck is made correctly, you should be able to pick something up. But this guy is just interesting because he's going to be able to break the EX base on his own. I'll bet he is another 2 cost, but he's going to break the EX base on his own. He's going to keep harassing until they have to destroy him, and then you get to basically search for something else. So this is actually pretty cool, and it can pick up himself, so sometimes you keep the chain going. But alas, these are both SRs, so you only have 2 of them. Now, the next card we have here is the Goof. If you guys were doing any of the demo battle, the demo battles, you should know this is in the green deck. Level 3, 3 cost, 2, 3 stat line, deploy 1 rested Zaku 2 Zeon token with 1 AP and 1 AP, and you just deploy it. Rested. So your opponent does have a chance to swing into this, but swinging into it is going to put them 1 life lower, and if they're at 2 life, that means you can Relula, you can close combat if they're at 3 life, but you open them up just by playing a body that was free anyway, while playing a body that's actually going to do stuff regardless. And if they don't answer the Zaku token, it's even more cooked, because now you have at least 2 more extra bodies on board. Next notable card is Zaku 2. Attack, this unit gains AP plus 2 for the turn. Again, another beta card. But this guy is a level 2, 1 cost, 1/2. He becomes a 3/2 when he swings, making him an EX buster for sure. But this deck is in no shortage of cards to bust the EX base, because if you play a level 1 Zaku 1 on turn 1, and then follow him up on turn 2 with the Gaza D sleeves, you can then turn Gazi sleeve sideways, support 2 on that, and then swing at their EX base, and it just blows up the EX base. So this deck has a lot of ways to actually circumvene that. On top of being able to circumvene just the damage threshold that's needed to get rid of the EX space, you also have Angelo's Girazulu, which is going to just also give support too, but has better stats and has a link. So overall, you have a bunch of supporters, you have some 1-drops, you're going to be able to amass a lot of pressure. Now, the next one here is the Relula. This is going to be the base, and it says burst, deploy 1 shield. It's a level 3 2 cost. It just says deploy, add 1 of your shields to your hand, then choose 1 enemy unit with 5 or less AP, deal 1 damage to it. So this is going to allow you to help chip things down. Like I said, there's some cards in here that, you know, your opponent may be trying to block or something like that, and they're left with 1 HP, and you just pop the Relula, get a card from your life, deal it 1 damage, and it goes. So yeah, this is actually a really cool base, and on top of that, it doesn't need to happen on your turn. That's great. Some of these are turn locked. Like this one, for instance, you have this next base, Falmel. It's another level 3 2 cost that says burst, deploy this card, deploy, add it to 1 of your shields to your hand, then if it's your turn, deploy 1 Restashar, Zaku, Zeon, AP 3 and HP 1 unit token. So you're making a super thick token, and swinging into that token with most of these cards is going to spell sudden death, or literally be sudden death to your unit. So very good field card. Of course, once again, you get 3 of each field card. Backing up with those supporters and the guy, you got 3 Goofs, you got 4 Zaku 4s, you got 4 Angelo Girazulu, and you got 3 Gazadi sleeves. So those are the ratios for that. And then we're up at the pilots, and the pilots are going to be full frontal. The pilot's same dude essentially, but you got full frontal. You got 6 cost, 1 or 6 level 6 1 cost. His effect is nasty. He gives +2/+2, and then when paired, not when linked, when paired, you can deploy 1 Neo Zeon / Zeon unit card that is level 4 or lower from your hand. So he's just gonna be a monster. If he pairs with Sinanju, GG, because like he's going to be able to shoot something into play, and then he's going to be able to swing himself, and then maybe blow up something or heavily damage something. But like, he's just a very powerful thing. And because it says when paired, you can put this, sorry guys, you can put that on anything. You put that on a Zaku 1, and it goes up to 3/4, and then swings and becomes a 5/4. But by putting this under him, you also just cheated in a Zeon, Neo Zeon. So Gelgoog Strunks going up once the set drops. Now the next card that we have here is going to be the Char himself, and this is a level 3 1 cost beta box card. Burst, add this card to your hand. Attack during this turn. This unit gains +1 AP, and if it's a link unit, it gains high maneuver. It's very important that the link does not require, or the 1 AP does not require a link, but the high maneuver is a very nice choice. There's a lot of things for him to link to, and you should be able to get this off fairly easily in your deck. Unblockable damage is pretty good damage. Now we're on to the command cards, and you've got close combat. This is a level 2 2 cost, and burst, activate this card's main/action, choose an enemy unit, deal 2 damage to it. Because the action step opens up on an attack as well as at the end phase of the entire like turn, you can actually use this to catch people off guard, and things that they thought were going to last until next turn no longer do. You know, you hit them with the killing their blocker the moment you can, then going in on their life, their shield. It's just actually pretty strong. Also, the art's amazing. If you guys get a full art of this, hit me up. I love Sinanju. Like, he's literally, where is he? He's literally right there. Yeah, I love him. And the last card of Starter Deck 02, you got Indignation. This is a level 2 1 cost, main/action, choose 1 friendly unit. It gets +2 AP during this turn. A little weak. I wish it was 3, but at the same time, he doubles as the pilot that fits in Angela's Girazulu. But at the same time, Indignation is a battle trick. So if your opponent attacks into you and you've got 2 AP and they've got 4 HP, if you want that card gone, you can tap 1 for Indignation, go up to 4 AP, and you guys both trade instead of them just, you know, like beating your suit and then turning his mobile suit elsewhere. So yeah, this is a pretty good card. All right, and now we have arrived at the tippity top. This is the Gundam. This is the RX-78-2. He is the first LR of 2 for the heroic beginning starter deck, and he basically is a 4 cost, or 4 level 4 3 cost, 3/4, good stat line, repair 2. This is ignorant, and then during your turn, all of your units gain 1 HP. This guy is weird because as a standalone LR, he is not going to be better than Wing or necessarily Sinanju. However, he buffs your entire board. He turns 2 costs into 3, or 2 APs into 3 APs that can bust EX shields. He turns 1 AP cards into 2 AP cards that can chump trade with your lower bodies. Like, there's a lot of good stuff this guy does. Also, the repair 2 allows him to eat so many bodies and just shrug it off because he goes back up to max health at the end of the turn. By far, this may not be the best LR, but one, he's definitely the best team player LR. And honestly, if you just want to say Wing Gundam's the best and then Sinanju slash Gundam are the second best, I would be there for you. Yeah, this guy's crazy, and his link partner is Amare, as one would expect. But yeah, no, this is actually insane value that you won't just understand until you play. Now, the next LR here is actually the Gundam Aerial Permanent Score 6. This is a level 5, 4 cost, 4/4 stat line. When paired, choose up to 1 enemy that is level 5 or lower. It gains AP -3 for this turn. A lot of you guys don't like this. A lot of you guys don't like this card, but let me tell you, especially in the starter deck format, when this card hits the board, and then Suletta hits the board, and then something gets -3, and then this thing swings for 5 with 6 HP, bro, this is taking away probably your boss card unless its name is Wing Zero, and then on top of that, it's probably surviving with 4 HP. That's just crazy to think about. This is a house. And then after that, it's still just a beat stick in general, swinging in for 5, destroying bases. And if Suletta's under aerial, you're also untapping that resource after using each turn, getting some more mileage. So you guys may not like this card, but this card is a strong LR. It is literally a strong LR in this format. Now, cards of note, you've got the Zawart, and the Zawart is a level 2 cost with 3/2 as the stat line. Blocker, this unit cannot choose the enemy player as an attack target. So yeah, this is the first one, but this deck does not have a card that inherently blows up the EX base, because this guy can't attack the EX base. However, what he can do is provide a blocker that will take almost anything away from your opponent the first 2 to 3 turns of the game. So yeah, he's actually really strong. You do not want to swing over this blocker. You want to rest it. You want to close combat it. You want to get off the board as soon as possible. Next card of interest, you've got Gundam MA form, and by the way, you do have 3 of the Zawarts in your deck. Now, Gundam MA form, you have 4 of in your deck, and it's a level 5 3 cost, 4/3 is the stat line. When paired with White Beast base team pilot, draw 1, and then Earth Federation White base is the stats or the traits, and the link is Amare. So this is crazy because when you link Amare to this, you're going to be able to choose the order until they resolve. I would highly suggest drawing your card to see if it changes what you're going to do for the turn, and then resting after that, and then you get to yeah, just kind of ball from there. Respectable stats. However, since it's a white based team as the pilot, that's cool. For the actual main effect, you can put Hayato from Thoroughly Damaged under him. You can put Kai from Kai's Resolved under him. There's a lot of stuff. Even in this format, just with the starter decks, there's a lot of things that can link to this that will get you the draw. And like I said, thinning is winning, consistency is king, and there's not a lot of drawing in this game right now, so we take what we can get. Now the next card here is the starter deck Gun Tank. It's a level 3 2 cost, 2/3 stat line. Hayato Kobayashi is the link pilot, but it is a 3-of in the deck, and this effect, deploy, choose 1 enemy with 2 or less HP, rest it. This is great because anytime you try to play out a weenie, or you try to play out a body just to try to set up that stalemate of like, okay, how many times am I going to attack you next turn, you can literally just play out Gun Tank rest and then swing with something else on the rested unit, because it's now no longer able to hide. So I think Gun Tank is actually a very good card, and it's annoying almost every time you see it. Now, going over to bases, what we have here is the almighty white base. You guys should know this again from the beta, and if you don't, it's a level 3 2 cost base that burst. Deploy this card, deploy, add 1 of your shields to your hand, activate main once per turn to deploy 1 Gundam white base team. So this is just a 3/3 Gundam token if you have no units in play. If you have 1 unit in play, you make a gun cannon, it's a 2/2, and if you have more than 1 unit in play, you're going to deploy Gun Tank, or sorry, more than 2 units in play, you're going to deploy Gun Tank, which is a 1/1. So this allows you to do quite a bit of things. One, if your field is just going off, you can just keep making 1/1s to fill up your field. up to your 6 cap, and then just start swinging with those the moment you break an EX shield. Just send in the 1-drops. However, an EX base. However, the other thing this guy allows you to do is if you only have 1 body on board, you can crash into your opponent's body, making a trade to then just tap 2 and then make a 3/3 token. So this allows you so many flexible routes, but it also allows you a bunch of cards, a bunch of bodies that you didn't necessarily have before. Yeah, I think I covered that. Pretty much about covered it. So next one we have here is the Anticasia School of Technology Earth House. It's a level 2 1 cost burst. Deploy this card, deploy, add 1 of your shields to your hand, activate main, reset this base. All friendly link units gain +1 AP during the turn. Link units is a very stinky condition to have on it because that's going to be a little scarce far in between. However, you are going to be able to buff your linked units even further, making things like Suletta a 6/6 if Suletta is under the Gundam Aerial LR. There's just a lot of cool things you can do with this, and yes, we do like the red one better that we talked about. I think, yeah, the red one better that just gives +1, but this is still really good. Now the only difference is the red base only gave +1 to 1 unit. This is going to give the stuff to all of the friendly link units, and seeing as that Suletta pairs with so many academies in here, and Amuro, Kai, and Hayato pair with so many of the white base Earth Federation, you actually have the probability of having more than 1 link on the board at a time using this and just going up. So the buffs are insane. Speaking of said pilots, we've got Amuro Ray, the king of Gundam, old grandpa's pilot. You got level 4 1 cost burst, add this card to your hand, and then he's got a +2/+1, and then 1 pair, choose one enemy unit with 5 or less HP and rest it. This is gonna get into people time and time again. You're gonna rest something, punch it. Amuro is gonna take like 2 damage, and then you're gonna heal up 2 damage, or the RX-70 is gonna take 2 damage and you heal up 2 damage. This is a very nasty combo, and no, it will not stop. Like, this is just really strong. And of course, with the bases you have 3 of each, with the pilots you have 4 of each. The next pilot we have here is Suletta Mercury, and Suletta Mercury is a level 4 1 cost. Again, burst, add this card to your hand, attack once per turn, choose up to 1 of your resources, set as active. This is better in the beta format where we had draw cards. We don't have enough draw to keep just machine gunning out cards, but it does give you a little bit more economy with your resources, allowing you to keep cards or resources up for cards like the next one, Unforeseen Incident. Now this is a great card. It's a level 3 1 cost burst. Activate this card's main/action, choose one enemy unit. It gains AP -3 during this turn. This is essentially like a soft counter. If somebody attacks you into a shield for 2 or 3 damage and you use Unforeseen Incident on the defense step, you're going to bring them down to 0, meaning there's no damage dealt to your shield. If somebody tries to trade with you and you have 1 energy up, you have to be careful because they, like, as the white player, you can literally just play this card and turn the trade into just a one-sided beatdown when their unit potentially loses every single one of its AP. So very good, but you only get 2 of these, so it's hard to rely on. And then the last card we want to talk about here is Thoroughly Damaged. It's a level 2 1 cost. Hayato Kobayashi is indeed the pilot that doubles as the command, and it says main, choose 1 rested enemy unit, deal 1 damage to it. This is the way to get rid of tokens. This is the way to get off the final little piece of health you need after a nasty trade from your opponent. So this is pretty good. But now it's time to talk about the overall verdict and why. So there you have it. Those are my takes on those from least viable in the starter deck events to most viable. I have starter deck 2 Wings of Advance, then starter deck 4 Siege Strike, then starter deck 3 Zeon's Rush, then starter deck 1 Heroic Beginnings. And from the bottom of that totem pole, unfortunately, Wings of Advance I just don't think has enough going for it without the like ramp from set 1. You really are essentially playing normal curve, but your biggest plays take like ridiculous amounts of resources to get out. There are some outs to because of red being the way it is, there are some outs to Wing Zero that weren't in the, or sorry, Wing Gundam that weren't in the beta box. Yeah, if you don't see your Wing Gundam, your deck feels pretty bad. Heavy Arms is pretty good, but 2 out of the 3 decks, and even when I say 2 out of 3 decks, even white or even Heroic Beginnings can put a beat down on you. Like, essentially Wings of Advance is the only deck that can't play a beatdown strategy on curve, and if you don't see your Wing Gundam fast enough, you can get really put in a bad position. Like when I was playing, even with 2 star decks put together, a lot of the times, even the games I could win were games where I had dipped down like 2 life and stabilized. And as the control deck, that's cool, but especially in this limited format, it can be rough. Or sealed format. Followed by that, you have Siege Strike. I think that Siege Strike has 2 very powerful LRs in what they do. The fact that Aegis is just able to clear anybody else's LR, no questions asked, is pretty much wild. While Ale Strike is disruption plus a blocker. They have actually a fairly low to the ground curve, but they don't really have any high maneuver. They do have breach, they don't have high maneuver. So realistically, while you have some beatdown, sometimes the Siege Strike deck can have problems finishing the game, and that's wherein lies the issue with it. Now above that, you have Zeon's Rush. Zeon's Rush has both 1-drops and, you know, some 2-drops, some 3-drops to kind of bridge the gap, but it also has one of the most devastating finishers in this entire format, this starter deck format, being Sinanju in full frontal, and literally playing well above your resource limit at the time if you're playing him on curve, dealing damage as he rips through shield cards. Like, it's just ridiculous. It is honestly crazy. And you get to this point where you can kind of play this token spawning 1-drop beatdown and then just finish it off with high maneuver thanks to Sinanju or the Shar Aznable pilot. So I think it's right up there. Its high roll is probably the highest out of any of the decks here. However, it is not as consistent as the number 1. When it comes to Heroic Beginnings, I think that it's got the ability to get blockers out of the way. It's got the ability to rest smaller bodies and just erase them off the field. Even if you don't see your LRs, you have the ability to rest things left and right. You have draw on Gundam in mobile armor form. You have like plenty of good cards from Witch from Mercury. You have that 3/2 blocker. You have a lot to go off of, and white base pretty much picked up the slack. You could stumble and white base can continuously make you bodies until they have to address it. So I do think that in terms of consistency, while Heroic Beginning Starter Deck 1 does not have the high roll that Zeon does, it is most certainly more consistent. And so if you want to maximize your chances of winning this event, I think that Gundam, the Heroic Beginnings, the Gundam Starter Deck 1 is the best choice. But I do think that you could easily get there with number 3 as well. I think that once you play Seed, if you want to play Seed, you play Seed. But if you're playing Seed, I think you're just playing a worse chance version of Zeon's Rush at this very moment. And I think that, yeah, I think that unless you open up Wing Gundam and play him on curve every time, I think that you're looking at this one, the Wings of Advance, being the worst one for this event. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's timestamps at the bottom so you can skip around and hear explanations again. But yeah, thank you for your time. I hope you are enjoying this Gundam content, and I will see you in the next video. Later.